It is a total and absolute pleasure to welcome you all back here again. We didn't do this last year for obvious reasons, and it's just wonderful to see lots of the Supergen faces old and quite a few new ones here today for the meeting that we're having. Today, we're going to be running through a complete showcase. We're going to be showing everything that happens across Supergen from our different perspectives. So you will see in your programme that there are a number of different sessions focused around the different Supergen themes. So to recap for anyone who hasn't heard before, and I seriously doubt anyone in this room hasn't heard this before, we focus on resources as the start of the biomass supply chain. Then we move through to pre-treatment and conversion. That results in our vectors, our substitute liquids, substitute gases, our products, our materials that we're going to use. And those then all get integrated within a systems framework. So those are the main academic topics. And we have a lead for each of those topics who has prepared a session today for you. Today will largely update you on what research the community have been doing in this space over the last almost 4 years now. There will be a few bits that will still be work in progress and outstanding that we'll be able to discuss. But the other really important angle is that Supergen is about bringing together industry with academia and policy and third sector groups. So it's really interesting to see how that breaks out. So just in case there are any people who don't know others quite so well, can I ask if you feel that your topic or your interests today are mostly in resources? Can you raise your hand so we get a feel for how many resourcey, feedstocky people in the room on different tables? Excellent. If you mostly work on conversion, and there were far too many of these people yesterday, we could not cope with them because they all ended up in the same group. Go on. So these are the people who do the engineering, the science of conversion across biological, thermochemical and catalytic techniques. So I guess they've got a lot to cover, but the conversion side of it. Vectors. We could hardly find anybody in the ECR session yesterday who would actually claim to be involved in vectors, but Lunad was having a discussion at breakfast this morning and decided that she's really a vectors person. And there must be some people who are presenting on vectors today, so yeah, okay. So vectors, because this one is a bit odd, is all about looking at the quality, the standards and the nature of the thing that we make from biomass, be that a gas, be it a liquid, as I said earlier, a product or a material. And at the moment, most of that really needs to be drop-in. So it's about looking at what we need to do and what standards we need to apply and how far those can be flexed and how we can ensure that we are compliant with that. So that's what we have in vectors. And who identifies most with the systems end of things? Yeah, a lot of people. So this is a really, really important theme. If you look across UKRI and across engineering research in general, what you will find is that systems has become a bit of a buzzword over the last 10 to 15 years. I would argue that in bioenergy, systems is more challenging and more important than in just about anything else. We were talking last night about how challenging it can be to really understand what's happening in remote corners of the world where material is being grown and how important that can be at the far end when you're actually using it. So systems is a really, really important theme. So we have all the people in the room today to cover the complete bioenergy chain, and we have people who come from different sectors. How many of you are academics or dare to call yourselves academics? Yeah, most of you, which is fair enough because this is an academic programme. How many of you come from the industrial or commercial sector? And this is important because you are the guys that we need to be connecting through to. And I say guys, but there were 1 or 2 women who put their hands up there. Anyway. And then the policy and third sector. Yeah, this is really important at the moment because biomass strategy and biomass policy is in a state of flux. I don't know who put their phone on this morning. I wished I hadn't before I got out of bed. I really regretted it. The Guardian have done us proud yet again, but this time they've roped Greta Thunberg in as well. And we have a wonderful article this morning that explains why the European Parliament, I think it is, should vote against the measures that are being put to it next week around biomass, and explains why the use of biomass for energy is a really bad idea and is ruining forests and marine ecosystems all around the world. So that gives us some idea of the challenges that we face. I've always taken the position with Supergen that we shouldn't respond to these sorts of things. I prefer to take a more positive approach. And we do have a workshop tomorrow morning where we're looking at communications. And I think that getting the scientific evidence base that we have around this out there is actually really important. Having said that, when I did get to the end of the Guardian's article this morning, it had its usual little line on the bottom that said, if anyone wishes to respond by letter in no more than 300 words, please do so. So I did wonder if there might be any people who were thinking of writing a response. And if there is, then we could probably find some time for you to have a chat with each other this afternoon. Often I've been asked to do big grandstanding letters with multiple sets of people signing them, and I find that pretty counterproductive and difficult, really, to be honest. But it did just occur to me that as we have all of you here today, that perhaps if a few different letters from different angles were to appear on the desk of the Guardian today, that might be interesting to see how they dealt with that. I'm not going to say any more than that. You know it's happened. You know it's out there. If anybody wants to do anything about it and wants any help or support, then let me know. But otherwise, we're going to continue with our plan, and tomorrow morning we'll go through the material that we have that we think actually addresses many of these issues. We've been working on some of the common myths and common statements made about bioenergy and how we actually put a credible, scientifically founded evidence base out on that. So I really do prefer to stick with that and to go positively. But at the same time, if there are people who felt that they wanted to respond, I'd be very interested to talk to them and perhaps help them. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. The programme for today, is here. So I had 10 minutes. I've used about 12, but I probably started 2 minutes late, so that's not too bad. I'm going to hand over to the resources topic group. Ian Donnison leads that. And in the next hour, he's going to tell you all that we know about biomass and resources from the last 4 years.